Yeah, we've got 10 to 20 people that, you know, watch. So, you know, we're international, as you know.
Yeah, cold.
Yeah, hopefully that's all I have. I usually get this every year. Twice a year. Oh, it's like an old friend.
Were you here last week?
No.
I know, I wanted to come and be here.
We'll do a little
Appointment, I couldn't have it.
I just,
You can be my remedial. How was Montreal?
wonderful.
You had a good time? How was Modavi?
It was wonderful.
It was.
It was wonderful, yeah.
It's a great
The only
time.
glitch was they sat us in one place, the music was right over our heads, so we asked for a different table.
Okay.
But the food was excellent. And it was within walking distance of our hotel.
Was it?
Well, it was a bit of a long walk. Larry, he was breathing.
About 5 blocks, something like
Something
that.
like that, yeah.
6, maybe.
Yeah.
Did you walk it?
Yeah, we did.
You did? You walked it? Good for you.
We might have taken a taxi home. I
Yeah.
don't remember. But I don't know if it was getting to the hotel. There was so much construction all over the city.
Always. It's always the case.
It was horrible.
Yeah, it's always the case. You know why?
Why?
Because of the extreme temperatures. It gets very hot in Montreal and very, very cold, so all the roads get ripped up, and they do it all the time.
Well, at least they're taking care of their infrastructure.
Yeah, oh, they are. They're on it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. We really have to count on that. So, hey, Karen.
Hello. Hi, Karen.
Ah.
Forever.
Outside today.
So, you know,
Maybe I don't.
that Ferris wheel, I couldn't get over the size of that
Very
thing.
but
I feel it.
Me too. Look at me. Dressed for me. I figured it would be cold.
Well, the hotel I stay at is a block away from Modavi.
Oh,
Yeah. Did you meet the owner, Lorenzo?
he wasn't there that day.
Oh, he wasn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it was like Monday or something, right?
It was a Monday.
Yeah, he's probably not
We
there.
did ask for him, but.
Yeah. Good old Lorenzo.
Yes.
He's a good guy.
We're doing great.
And I'm not a good customer, but when I'm there, I go there.
Well, that was the only restaurant that we went to that you recommended.
Uh-huh.
The next time we went to Maggie Oaks. And you know what, we had a lot of charcuteries and cheese boards.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Nice.
it's like, yeah, well, Larry, that's one of Larry's, he loves that stuff.
Yeah, okay.
And I mean, like, my cholesterol was such.
I take a pill before you go to Montreal. Well, good. I'm glad you had a good time. In Quebec City?
It was lovely,
Yeah.
we went on, this is my thing, I like going on boat tours.
Uh-huh.
So we went on a boat tour in Montreal, and we saw the rapids.
Yeah,
you know, by
yeah,
St. Lawrence.
sure.
And then we went on a boat tour in Quebec, and that was tough because my knee acts up sometimes with hills, and it's very hilly in Quebec.
Yeah, it's very hilly.
Incredibly hilly.
Yeah.
And Larry has breathing difficulties, so the tour was full.
Yeah, that's a tough place
It's
to
a hard
walk.
place to walk.
Yeah, I've done it, obviously, but, yeah, that's steep
Yeah.
walking,
Yeah, we took that funicular.
You did?
Yeah, well, we had to go, up and down.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But we had pretty good weather except for the last few days turned cold
Yeah,
and rainy.
yeah.
So
Time to go home.
I was ready to go home.
Yeah.
How about the fall foliage?
It was beautiful.
Was it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
It was
Yeah.
beautiful. And coming home
Susan, hi.
along the highway, it was beautiful. I saw that. Hi, Howard. Good, how are you?
I was, the Reeds gave me their car
Oh, yeah?
last time when I went to Montreal and Quebec. They said, you're not driving your cars
Oh,
there.
nice.
So the last day was snowing like crazy. I mean,
Oh.
bad snow.
Oh,
And, trying to get down, driving, down to get to the road.
yeah.
I was so close to hitting cars.
Oh. I mean, those
buildings.
streets are narrow, and
Yeah.
then the construction.
You gotta really watch it, yeah.
Yeah, we parked our car when we got there and left it there.
Done. Right. Welcome, everyone. We're gonna do a little remedial work, so everybody's caught up. How about that? This isn't college and university, otherwise you'd be punished. What do we know about the book?
She's a conqueror.
Sorry?
She's a conqueror?
A conqueror. Say more about that.
She's a Moabite.
I had a guy give me a message this morning.
What got you wrong? She's a conqueror. No, say more about that.
She conquers everything no matter the circumstances. That's what he told me. He says I'm just like the Book of Ruth. Maybe it's the Book of Ruth. not
Well, it's an
necessarily.
interesting name. It's an interesting word to use in this context, I think.
Yeah, so the Book of Ruth is about you and me. She conquers everything no matter the circumstances. So he's, anyway.
Okay.
I'm
accept that.
interested in writing that whole.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else want to add something about Ruth?
Very loyal,
Very loyal
yeah, my mother-in-law.
to her mother-in-law, for sure. Anyone else?
I wanted to read the book and I haven't had a chance to yet.
Well, because she
Gotta
stayed
read
with
it.
her mother-in-law, she didn't.
So long.
I haven't had a chance.
She might
have.
It's 4 chapters. You can read 5
I can't
minutes.
even get
5 minutes. Anybody else want to throw something in? Hey, Alice.
I'm looking forward to it. So. Hi.
Why is this book in the Bible? Let me ask you that. Why is it in here?
The line of David.
It's the line of David, right? Say more about that. What does that mean?
That means, it was important to the Jews, the line of David was important to the Jews because that leads to Christ. David was
The Messiah, right?
David was the great-great-grandfather. But it was important that the line be pure
Right.
and great people be in it. And Ruth was one of those people that was.
Without Ruth, there would be no line.
But Ruth was a Moabite.
Right.
You say that
That's, here we go.
without Ruth what?
Well, all right. Is it nodding? I hear nodding.
Put your microphone up a little higher, please.
Well, then people will hear what I'm saying. All right. So, all right. Okay. The Messiah will be born through the line of David.
Yes.
Everybody there? Okay. That's what the prophets have said. That's what the Old Testament is about. Is where does the Messiah come from? And it comes from the line of David. Okay?
That's King David.
King David, 1,000 years BC, right? That's an easy one to remember. 1,000 years before Christ. It's David, okay? And he's the star of the show, even though he's a nitwit. Now, the question then is, what does Ruth have to do with this, since she is a Moabitess, right? Is that what you said? She's not Jewish.
She's not Jewish. But she married a Jew.
Right, Boaz. Okay, Boaz. But without this little tiny story, we won't be here. Because there will be no Messiah, there will be no Christ, there will be no Jesus, there'll be no Bethlehem, there'll be no Christmas story, there'll be no Easter story, nada, right? It all ends. So here's the moment. Here's the moment. They say this in sports a lot. Are you up for the big moment? Right? Some players are, and some players aren't. In this case, Ruth is up for the moment. But she's a Moabitess.
And she didn't have children with her, did she? With
Boaz.
Jewish- she had a child?
Ruth does not have children before she meets Boaz.
Oh, his brother-in-law.
Right. Okay? So, and we'll get into that too today. Levirate marriages, they call it. So here's the thing. The wrong person, the Moabitess, becomes the right person. Right? You got that? And that is a theme that goes all the way through the Bible. The wrong person is the right person. Even King David, if you think about his story, right? Wrong person. He puts, it's ridiculous. They put the armor, his brother's armor, to go after what is it? Goliath. Right? He can't even pick himself up. He's so small. He's a scrawny little kid. The youngest. He doesn't even count. The prophet comes up to David's father and says, "Where are your sons?" And he goes, No, he's not one. You got anybody else? Right? Do you know the story? Yeah, I got one. He's out in the field. He's a midget. He's not going to go after Goliath. And sure as shooting, the wrong kid is the right kid.
So no matter the circumstance, the person conquered.
Say
No
that
matter
last
the
part.
circumstance, the person conquered.
You love it. You're trying to make that fit, but no matter what, Cindy, shame on you for doing that. Well, the direction I want to go is God will choose who God will choose.
Right.
That's the point. And even you, God may choose you, even though you might feel I'm the wrong person. You see?
Yeah.
Who does Jesus choose as his disciples? I hear knocking. Who does he choose as his disciples? Fishermen. Lower, right? Lower. And God will, in this case, Jesus will choose the ones he should not choose. It's a theme all the way through the Bible. I'm not the one. I couldn't possibly be the one. Well, guess what, buddy? You're the one. And God will fashion out of these wrong people the history of salvation. It's fantastic, isn't it?
Totally agree.
Yeah. Well, and I relate to it too, right? I shouldn't be here, is my feeling. I should be running a department store in Whitehall.
But God thinks you're the perfect person.
That's right. You're the one, and I really don't care how you feel about
That's
it. Right. So okay. So that's very consistent with all of many stories in the Bible. God picking the wrong person, including Jesus. Right? I mean, think about the Christmas story. Where is he born?
Manger.
You know what I mean? In a stable, right? How does that smell in the stable, do you think? Does it have a royal smell to it?
I would think so, yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sure.
Fresh hay.
All right, fresh hay, you might have a little bit of that, but beyond that, you might have a different odor.
Needed the three wise men.
Yeah, the frankincense and myrrh, especially, just jam that up his nose, because this place stinks. Hey, Nick. So that's...
Hey.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
At the end.
Okay. So, it's a busy place right now. Lyall is. We got a lot going on. So, shame on you, Nick, for ruining my Bible study.
I apologize.
We have to live with this for the next couple months, I think. A lot of dust in the air. So even Jesus is the wrong person. Right? St. Paul, when he was Saul, wrong person. Right? Do you understand the theme? You get the theme? So that's all fun, right? That's fun and interesting. But the Bible will go one further because it's always doing this. You see? You see? You're the wrong person too, and we don't care. You're in. Get going. With all of our, flaws and, problems and bad mistakes and whatever we're bringing to the game, you're in.
The person's upbringing.
Yeah, all that. Yeah, God can do something with whatever you got.
When you think you have nothing left, from whatever the situation is,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we'll take what you got, and we'll do something with you. Is the idea, and it's really consistent throughout the Bible. I can't even come up with it. There's got to be characters in the Bible that go from that are already up here. Maybe Joseph of Arimathea, maybe Nicodemus, maybe. They were kind of up there, right? You can play with this idea.
I thought, if somebody's up here already, in whatever the circumstances, people tend to want to tear that person down. So it's just a thought that it's harder for that person that's already up there to actually accomplish something because they're constantly being torn down versus somebody that is humble and lowly. God's taking that person and building them up, and no one's trying to tear them down because they weren't all the way up here. It's
Well, you can play with that. Yeah, play with that idea.
You know what I mean? It's just a thought, like I was thinking of Disney World. The guy a long time ago, they kept trying to tear him down.
Sure.
Just kind of.
Yeah. Envy.
Yeah. So it's just a thought that,
Yeah.
that God they choose, I'm going to mold this person and bring them up, and they're not being destroyed bringing them
Right.
down.
Or it could go, or that person could go a little bit higher than what they thought. That's possible too.
Right.
Joseph of Arimathea fits that. Nicodemus fits that. They were already up here, but they had way more to go, right?
Right.
Which they did not know at the time.
Right.
So, and the opposite is true too. If you look at the pharaohs of Egypt during the Exodus, they aren't even named. They're the most powerful people on earth as far as that area. They didn't get a name. It goes the other way too. So if you're not involved in the kingdom of God, let's say, if you're not involved in the history of salvation, if you want to call it that, you're a nobody. Even if you're the Pharaoh of Egypt, you're nobody. Is that interesting? And the Bible's very consistent with that too. You get a name when you participate. And if you're thwarting it, or not a part of it, you don't even get a name. I mean, it's really outrageous. It's funny. What's his name? Pharaoh of Egypt is kind of how they put it in Exodus. Oh, what's his name? It's really funny. It's funny. Because they're slaves. They're writing from the ones beaten down. And they go, yeah, whatever, whoever he is. It's beautiful. It really is beautiful. Another thing that we talked about last week has to do with faith. That at the time of this writing, all that was known right now is, what is known right now comes from kind of Deuteronomy and maybe some other places. And the idea is that the judges put their foot down and said, Jewish men will not marry non-Jewish women. Period. Because they're going to pollute us. Right? The gene pool. Trump just said this yesterday. He talked about the gene pool. Right? Did you read about that? One of his rallies, he's an absolute nutcase in my mind. But, who's...
appealing to the Christian then.
Yeah, Christian conservatives, evangelical nutcases. Can I speak my mind? Is this on? Anyway, either you see him as a nutcase or you're a nutcase yourself. But, sorry? Is this on?
Yes, it is on. If you don't think
He's a nutcase, you're the nutcase.
Well, yeah, sure, of course. I mean, this is a crazy person, right? He's a nut. He's ill. He's sick. Anyway, so he talked about that too. This whole gene pool. The immigrants are going to pollute our gene pool, right? Well, that's what was being discussed in Deuteronomy. Same thing, right? So Jewish men will not marry non-Jewish women because they will pollute our gene pool. Same thing. Almost exactly the same thing. So what we've talked about over the years here at Lyall is that there are conversations going back and forth in the Bible. Like, remember last week we said throughout the Old Testament especially, there's this idea, if you keep your nose clean, you follow the Ten Commandments and you follow the other laws that surround the Ten Commandments. If you do that, God will bless you. Right? And there's all sorts of spots, places in the Bible, Old Testament especially, that confirm that. Do the law and you will be blessed. Don't do the law and you will be punished. Right? That's the way it goes. I mean, it's all over the place. That idea is all over the place. We still use it in the Christian church. We want you to be a good person, and then God will bless you. You hear it all the time. Well, then, as a counterbalance, you get the book of Job. You see what I mean? There's the conversation. That's what I mean by that. It goes back and forth like that. Job is a righteous person. He's doing it. He's keeping his nose clean. He's following the law and all this. And his entire life crashes down. Right? He did the right thing. He wasn't blessed. It looked like punishment. You see what I mean? There's this back and forth in the Bible. Do the right thing. Great. Job. Now over here we have don't consort with foreign women because they will pollute us. And over here we have the book of Ruth that says, oh yeah? Well, this girl is the only one that's faithful. She's going to teach the entire nation over here what faith looks like. She's the right one, and you better marry her.
By character.
Yeah, character. She's the faithful one. She gets it. She gets it. You guys don't get it. She gets it. You see what I mean? Don't marry non-Jewish women. Oh yeah? Well, what about Ruth? You see what I mean? There's that back and forth.
Was she up front with that, or did she just not say anything and meld in?
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out what she does, right? I mean, it's a massive, little, tiny little book, but it is a linchpin. Or a, what do you call that when you go up and down like that? I can't remember things anymore. With geometry. Anyway, it's a fork in the road.
Cornerstone?
No, she's up. What I mean to say is, this is the moment. If Ruth does not respond in faith, the story dies. Now, they don't know that at the time, right? Like none of us do when we come into a very important time in our lives. We don't always realize how important it is to ourselves and to others, right? Our lives have a profound impact on others with how we act and how we don't act, right? I mean, it's just the way it is. That's life. And so Ruth is right at this moment where it forks. She's either going to go home to her family and try to figure out an existence somehow, right? Like the other daughter-in-law. What was her name? I forget now. Orpah. Not Oprah. Well, let's call her Oprah. If that helps you remember, then go for it. Orpah, right?
Orpah,
Something like that, right? She goes home to her family or her people with the hopes that, okay, we're going to eke out some kind of life over here. And Ruth gets the same opportunity. She go home. In fact, Naomi goes, go home. Go home. And here's the fork in the road. She goes, I'm not going home. Your God will be my God, right? Your people will be my people, right? Where you die, I will die. It's a famous line. Let's go on.
Beautiful poem there.
Right. Here she goes. Entreat me not to leave you or return from following you. For where you go, I will go. And where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people. She's a Moabitess, right? Your people will be my people. And your God, my God. Where you die, I will die. And there I will be buried. May the Lord do so to me and more also, if even death parts me from you. That's faith, right? It's faith. She's off. We broke this down last week. You know, what does it mean to have faith? We throw that word around all the time. You know, a lot of people do. That's faith.
Like surrendering yourself. Surrendering.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly right. Yep. You surrender yourself to this journey. So she's going that way. And there's no doubt about it. And we've described Ruth before as a female parallel, I think a better one myself, of Abraham. Right? When Abraham is called, he goes. But he never says this. Abraham never says this. He does it. He goes, for sure. And Sarah goes. But this is eloquent. Right? It really kind of shines a light on what it means to be a faithful person. And she's the wrong person.
But wasn't Abraham told by God? Was she told by God? It wasn't.
Doesn't say.
Yeah.
No, she doesn't. This is her own voice.
Yeah, I'm wondering why didn't she go back to her own people? You know, I think she'd be more comfortable there.
Of course.
So she must have had some kind of feeling, calling.
Yeah, maybe a call. It's a great question. You know, what motivates a person to do this?
You just feel it like wholeheartedly or something.
Yeah, and then to do it.
Right.
Right? I mean, it's one thing to feel it, right? But it's another to take the step. Go.
She must have loved Naomi very, very deeply.
Yeah.
And maybe that was why she wanted to stay with her.
Sure. That's got to be a part of it. And clearly, they did love each other, right?
Yeah.
Naomi loved her daughters-in-law,
Right,
and vice versa. And but what motivates a person to take literally a radical step? I'm going over here. I'm going with you. Have you ever done it? You ever done something like that? I mean, where it really changed your. I remember I was gonna. I mean, there's nothing like this, but I remember I was gonna be a clinical psychologist. You know that, right? Yeah, my papers were all in. I was all ready to go. And
I don't think I knew that.
huh?
I don't think I knew that. I don't think I heard you say
Yeah,
that.
I was going to get my PhD in clinical. Yeah. So that's why I worked in the hospital, and that's why I had a bachelor's degree in psychology. That's where I was going. And Pine Rest was a teaching hospital, and still is a fantastic one. And so, yeah, that's the direction I was going. I mean, I wasn't even thinking about anything else. And then there was a chaplain on our unit in our building, Pete Newick, and he said, you know, and we became friends at work, and he dragged me in his office, and he said, you know, I think you have different questions than psychological questions. I said, and I'm a kid, you know, 23. And I said, well, what are you talking about? He said, you have existential questions.
Theology.
Well, yeah, he didn't use that because I didn't know what he was talking. I was just starting to go to church. I said, okay, what does that mean? And he said, yeah, these are bigger questions than what psychology can handle. Psychology can handle certain questions, but not all of them. That's not their bailiwick, you know, that's not their discipline. I said, okay, so what do you do about that? He said, you go to seminary. He said, just go as a student, go as an academic.
But there's the path you're talking about, that somebody was in your path at a certain time.
Sure. Oh, yeah. He said, you'll meet interesting people, you read interesting books.
Psychologist or whatever, you would be like, okay, this is the plane that I'm on, there's got to be more. Like if you were there, right? You would be like,
I wasn't struggling, though. I
Yeah.
wasn't struggling because I thought, that's what I'm going to do,
It's
and
interesting
I'm good
that
at
the
it.
man picked it up,
He picked it up, yeah. Pete Newick was a very, very smart person. Died at 41, by the way. Cancer. One of the last people to see him. Anyway, that's another story. But, so he said, just go to seminary. Go to seminary, try it for a year. It's a 4-year degree. But try it for a year, see if you like it. You'll read interesting books. You'll meet odd people. And at the end of the year, see what you think. And just go as an academic. Don't go as like you're going to be a minister. You don't have to do that. Just go because you're curious. So I did. So that was, for me, that was, right? And now 40 years later, I look back and, see that that was a huge decision on my part, and absolutely changed my life. So we have these moments, and faith too. I wouldn't have put it that way back then, but it took a lot of faith to do that. I didn't know that at the time. There's motivations that you're not really aware of either. So anyway, that's part of my story. Okay, so that's sort of the backdrop of Ruth. I think we're kind of caught up now. Okay, Ruth, the Moabitess, the outsider, the wrong person, is going to teach faith to the people of God. Funny, right? It's funny. I think it's quite funny, actually.
It keeps going through my head, it's the wrong person, her human thinking. Like from God's perspective,
Well,
it's
sure.
the perfect person.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the person. Yeah, God is not struggling with us.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm struggling with leaving it there. I had to
Yeah.
say
Well,
that
right.
it's permanent, it's a human perspective.
That's right. Yeah. That's a human perspective for sure. So, do you want to read a little bit of this? I hear knocking.
Maybe we
Well,
should
there
have
is
been in the
knocking.
library.
There is knocking,
Hammering.
Well, that's where they are.
hammering, and so on.
That's right.
Oh, they-
Every once in a while, I hear it. Sir? Okay. So would someone like to read chapter 2, 1 through 7? Let's see how it goes. Let's see what happens. So Ruth and Naomi are now back home in where? Bethlehem, right? Your flag should go up with that one. They're in Bethlehem. Naomi is experiencing the return a little differently than Ruth. She wants her name changed, right? She doesn't want to be called Naomi anymore. She wants to be called Mara, which means bitter. Don't call me Naomi. Call me bitter because God stinks. Right? She's lost her husband. She has lost both of her sons. She has to return home. She's got nothing. She has no prospects. She's vulnerable. Don't tell me that God is terrific. Call me Mara. Call me bitter. Try that. She must have been a lot of fun when she arrived in Bethlehem. Okay, 1 through 7.
Now, Ruth meets Boaz. Now, Naomi had a kinsman on her husband's side, a prominent of the family of Elimelech, whose name was Boaz. And Ruth the Moabite said to Naomi, "Let me go to the field and glean among the ears of grain behind someone in whose sight I may find favor." she came to the part of the field belonging to Boaz, who was the family of Amalek. Just then Boaz came from Bethlehem. He said to the reapers, "The Lord be with you." They answered, "The Lord bless you." Then Boaz said to his servant, who was in charge of the reapers, "To whom does this young woman belong?" The servant who was in charge of the reapers answered, She is the Moabite who came back with Naomi from the country of Moab." She said, "Please let me glean and gather among the sheaves behind the reapers." So she came, and she has been on her feet from early this morning until now, without resting even a moment.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. So, anybody have some thoughts about this?
Well, you know, I didn't, I had to look up the word glean.
Gleaners, yeah.
I mean, I sort of had an idea what it was, but it's like, she's gleaning, she's picking up what the others are leaving behind.
Yeah, all the leftovers, yeah.
Yeah, so it seems to me she's very humble.
Mhm. The poorest people are gleaners.
I didn't hear that.
The poorest in a community are the gleaners,
Oh,
so they'll pick up the crumbs, you know.
oh, I didn't understand that either.
Yeah.
I thought it meant she was going to be, she was shining, like she would.
Gleaning.
Yeah.
This is gleaning.
Right. I never
It's
heard
close.
glean. That's true.
Yeah, a gleaner, is a terribly poor person. They're just picking up the little tiny little scraps. Is
Yeah,
all
thank you for bringing that up. I didn't
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, we had Grand Rapids Gleaners way back when. It was a food program for the city.
Oh,
They call them Grand Rapids Gleaners. So they would go to all the grocery stores and glean, right? And then they had a huge warehouse of food, huge. And they fed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people every day. So gleaners. Yeah, but you can't get much more humble. If you're a gleaner, people are looking at you saying,
it's like maybe a step above being homeless.
yeah, step above being homeless. Yeah, just a step.
Because you're choosing to do it. Right?
Sorry?
Because you're choosing
Well,
to be like that.
Or you're going to starve to death.
Right. Oh, right.
Yeah, you're going to starve to death if you don't do it.
Yeah, we give this job to the immigrants.
Exactly, sure. Yeah, they do that. They're doing it right now on our roof. Gleaners,
Yeah, you wouldn't catch me up there.
right? I mean, it's really dangerous work. Yeah, really dangerous. Right? You want your white sons and daughters up on a roof like that?
I don't like.
That's why we have immigrants, right? To do this stuff that we would never, ever do.
Across the walkway.
So, all right, so here's the question, though. They know, Ruth doesn't know, but Naomi knows about Boaz, right? It was the first line, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first line. There's an acknowledgement about Boaz. That's her kinsman, right? Maybe a brother-in-law, let's say, or something. And Naomi is going to point Ruth to that field.
but she doesn't say, she doesn't say that, she doesn't tell Ruth about Boaz
No.
being related to her.
Right. So,
So Ruth just, it was Ruth's idea to glean, and Naomi just said,
yeah, this would be,
"Go over there."
yeah, if you're going to go over there. Yeah, go over there. Because she knows, because she found out. So she's kind of setting up. Naomi is kind of setting this up.
She wants her to meet Boaz,
I think so.
so Boaz is not married, or,
Boaz is not married, as far as I know. But you can have more than one wife.
that was another.
You can have more than one wife, but
Yeah,
I don't think he is married.
He's rich though.
yeah.
He's loaded, yeah. He's loaded. He's a hilltopper. So, so there she goes. And what's the report from the workers? She's working her head off, right? She's working her head off. And what do we know about Boaz? already. There's a little hint about Boaz's character. When the
Upstanding?
huh?
Is he upstanding?
Yeah, but what? Yeah, that's right. But where in the story? What do they say? What's said that we would know that?
Who is this woman?
And behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem, and he said to the reapers, what does he say?
Lord be with you.
The Lord be with you.
He's a spiritual or religious man.
Yeah, and they said,
Bless you.
the Lord bless you. Yeah. They put this stuff in there on purpose, right? I mean, yeah.
Boaz in the Masonic fellowship is very significant. Boaz.
Boaz is.
Yes.
He is. Okay.
I can't tell you anymore.
All right, thank you. Yeah, well, he's pretty significant here too. So, all right, so that's the setup. So she's going to be a gleaner in Boaz's field. We know that Boaz sounds like a person of faith and also who is respected. He's not feared, right? He's respected. The other workers say, God bless you. So, and here's this kid working her fool head off in the fields, picking. I mean, this is gleaners pick. You're picking stuff up, kernel at a time, right? You're not threshing. She's not doing that. She's doing this. She's on her hands and knees, putting stuff in a basket or a pouch or something, right? I mean, it is as physical labor as you want to get. She's just picking away, picking, all day long.
And he notices her.
He definitely notices her. Who's
Wants
that?
to know who she is.
Who's that? Yeah, who's that? Okay.
In the fields, are they men who are working in the fields in general?
Oh, yeah.
So it's all men.
It's all men. Yeah, it's all men.
But don't women do that type of work too?
Sometimes, I think, yeah, do gleaning. Yeah, they'll do some gleaning. But this is men's work.
The reaping is men's.
Men's work, yes.
So she's vulnerable.
She's very, which we'll find out right now. We'll find out next. Yeah, she's just, you've got the scene in your head, don't you? Yeah, you got this young woman in a field with all men, and she's picking on her hands and knees. I mean, it's quite a scene. So when Boaz goes, who's that? Right? She stands out.
Because she's a woman.
She's a woman, and she's young. She's a young woman. I mean, what's going on here? All right, okay. And she gets identified, right? She's the Moab kid, right? It's in town. It's Bethlehem.
Did
Yeah.
the Moabites look a lot different than the Jews?
I doubt it. I doubt it. But the word's out. This is the foreigner. And we've already heard, right? We already know foreign women are not welcome. Right? That's in the air. That's in the air. Who is this one? Well, that's Ruth. She's a Moabitess. Flag goes up. Right? Well, nobody get near her. Right? We're not going to pollute our gene pool with a Moabitess. Keep that in mind, okay? So, it's Boaz. He's an interesting guy. All right, so can we do 8 through 13? Let's get crazy. Out loud? No one?
Then, do you want me to read it again?
Yes, I would love that.
Okay. Then Boaz said to Ruth, now listen, my daughter, do not go to glean in another field or leave this one, but keep close to my young women. Keep your eyes on the field, which is being reaped, and follow behind them. I have ordered the young men not to bother you.
Molest you.
If you get thirsty, go to the vessels and drink from what the young men have drawn. Then she fell prostrate with her face to the ground and said to him, why have I found favor in your sight, that you should notice of me? when I am a foreigner.
See?
But Boaz answered her, all that you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband has been fully told to me, and how you left your father and mother in your native land and came to a people that you did not know before. May the Lord reward you for your deeds, and may you have a full reward from the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come for refuge. Then she said, may I continue to find favor in your sight, my Lord, for you have comforted me and spoken kindly to your servant, even though I am not one of your servants.
Okay, all right, great. You see how that plays, keeps playing? I'm not one of you. I'm foreign. I don't belong here. I'm not. You see what I mean? You hear that over and over in this story, and the story reminds us of the fact that she doesn't belong there. She's the wrong person. Wrong person.
Now, is she a Muslim?
No, that comes 1,600 years later. Yeah. The Muslim religion started 1,400 years ago.
Yeah, but in the story of Abraham, wasn't his first son, the son by the concubine or whatever?
Esau,
Didn't they say that he was the beginning of the religion?
no, but Muslims claim that.
Oh.
They reach back, like
They
Christians
claim
do.
that they have a connection to Abraham.
And Christians do the same thing. We have a connection to Abraham. Christians, Muslims, and Jews all claim Abraham as the father of their faith. Right? I got that right? I'm pretty sure I got that right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what does Boaz know about Ruth?
That she left her home to stay with Naomi.
He knows the story. He knows the story. It's Millbrook, right? It's Millbrook. Right? Yeah. I saw him in Morona's, and he was picking up celery. Well, we know he doesn't eat celery, so he's got to be buying celery for some other reason. What reason could that be? And then he trotted over to the post office, and he had a box. It was about a foot cubed. And what kind of minister would have a box that's a foot cubed? Is it a bowling ball? Is it a bong? What is it? This is stuff I deal with almost every day. Everybody trying to figure out my fascinating life. So that's happening with Boaz too. So he gets the story. Does Boaz get the story right? He's got it, doesn't he? He's got it. So what does he do? What does he do about it?
Blesses her with prayer.
Blesses her?
Safety and-
Safety,
Yeah.
right? How important is safety for a woman, a foreign woman at that time in that place? How important do you think that is?
Very,
She was very,
Very.
very.
Boaz goes kind of casual, right? I'll tell the guys not to molest you. Did you hear that? It's kind of offhand.
It sounds like that's what they do.
That's right. That's what we do, especially with foreign women. You can molest them all you want. It's really offhanded, right? You almost skipped right over it, didn't you, Karen? Yeah. If you want to, let's not rape this one. It's horrendous.
Is that a King James terminology? Because in here it says bother you.
Yeah, see, they want to sweeten it up. Bother you, like, hey, baby. No, that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about rape.
Yeah, no, I think.
Yeah. English Bibles, just. Translation is terribly important because our sensibilities, our worldview, predominates what's actually being said. Right? When your first year in seminary, I can tell you it is shocking once you start to learn the language, you know, the languages, the Hebrew and Greek principally, and how you're translating. I mean, you're translating this stuff, and it ain't that. It's because we will take our soap and we are going to clean this off so it reflects who we are. No, it's not legitimate. And English translations, American translations, want to do that often.
You want to soften it.
Soften it. They want to make it like us. They want the Bible to reflect us, not us, the Bible, right? So yeah, and that also happens when you're powerful. You can change the narrative, and change the story if you're powerful. Yeah, just change the word out. Don't bother them. You know, we're talking about rape. Right. I mean, it's really, anyway. Anyway. So Boaz is going to protect this girl, right? Who's on her hands and knees, picking up pieces of grain. And they have this little conversation, right? They have a little conversation in the field. That's sweet. And thanks a lot for protecting me. Appreciate it. Well, I've heard about you, that you took care of your mother-in-law. And you came all the way over here. Can you hear it? Kind of a sweet little conversation.
So she probably was sweet but very strong. Like the,
He already knows that.
right,
He knows.
He could see it too.
Yeah, and what she did. I mean, it's
Right.
remarkable what she
Yeah.
did. Why would you do that? You
Right.
came all the way here. You're not from here. Yeah, it's a really sweet little exchange. Well, thanks for having my back.
It
Nope.
sounds like he's getting interested in her.
He's
Yeah.
definitely getting interested, or
Right.
he wouldn't talk to her
Wouldn't
at all.
take care of her like that.
Yeah, he wouldn't take care of her. He wouldn't even speak to her. Right?
Intrigued, probably.
He's intrigued. He
Yeah.
heard this story.
Yeah,
Like, who is this? Yeah, yeah.
Strong woman, yeah.
He's curious. Yeah, he's curious. Okay. All right, we got a couple more minutes. How about 14 through 16? Just 3.
At mealtime, Boaz said to her, "Come here and eat some of this bread and dip your morsel in the sour wine." So she sat beside the reapers, and he heaped up for her some parched grain. She ate until she was satisfied, and she had some left over. When she had got up to glean, Boaz instructed his young men, "Let her glean even among the standing sheaves, and do not reproach her. You must also pull out some handfuls for her from the bundles, and leave them for her to glean, and do not rebuke her."
Okay. So,
He's really taking care of
it's
her.
the sweetest story, isn't it? It's such a sweet story.
He's falling in love.
He's falling in love. Yeah, he's falling in love with her. Yeah, they're eating together. It's crazy. Do not marry foreign women. Right? That's overarching this stuff. Do not do that. Well, it's just lunch. We're just going to go lunch.
And maybe he feels a little bit good about the fact that she left the Moabites and came to accepted Judaism.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
maybe he thinks it's okay.
Right. Well, yeah, and he's thinking it too, right? This is all kind of whirling in his head. Well, she's a Moabitess, but you know, she's over here. She's with us. She was with Naomi all these years. I think she's kosher. Right? She's kosher. So they have this sweet little lunch, and
I got the feeling though that Boaz was an older man.
he is an older man.
Yes.
He is
He's
older.
Naomi's contemporary.
See?
He's Naomi's contemporary.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. He's a father figure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder what that's like. So, all right, so they're eating together, and then what happens? What does he do?
So he tells the reapers
Right.
do not reproach her.
Don't give her, don't hassle her. Don't hassle
Set
her.
her up with food and stuff.
Right, set her up with a little extra
And
food.
he's making it easier for her. She doesn't
Much
have to
easier.
go over as
Right,
much.
that's right. You can be with the sheaves, before it's all down on the ground. Yeah, guys, just let her pick off whatever she wants. It's such a beautiful little scene, right? Can you see them? I can picture these two. These two remind me also of Paul and Lydia in the New Testament. Paul and Lydia in Book of Acts. Yeah. I think Paul fell in love with Lydia, and they had a thing. I don't know what the thing was, but they definitely had a thing. They clicked, those two. And she was not Jewish either, by the way. So, it's guys stay, and the reapers are looking at him like, this is not. It's like, okay, right? Can you picture them too? All right.
Well, they know what's going on.
They know what's going on. Yeah, they've already. It's a love story, right? It's a love story, and it's a story of faith too. None of this would have happened if she didn't say, "I'm going where you're going. Your God is my God," right? I mean, she literally, she didn't put her foot down; she put her foot forward. None of this would have happened.
She converted.
She converted, and I think in a strange way, the book is also saying the Jews converted too. They all convert.
What's the faith of the Moabites?
I don't know. I don't know. There are many. Well, I'm sure there's something. All those ancient cultures have a god or gods. So but this is the one she's going to go with. It's interesting too. God is not in this story. God never speaks.
Spoken about, but not
But not. I think that's interesting too, isn't it? Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's left. God is in the background of this. I think that's very interesting too. Active, but not a character in this play, in this story. All right, is that enough for today? It's a great little book, isn't it? It's such a wonderful book.
The
Yeah.
best part is coming. The best part is.
Oh yeah. And at the end, the very end, we find out the significance of this love story. And that's for non-Jews. That's for us, non-Jews. Because all the Jews know it. They all know who is the grandfather of King David. They all know. They're telling us, the outsiders, which is really sweet. The ending is very sweet that way. You see what I mean? We all know why the story is important, but this is why it's important. Oh, okay. The Gentiles figured, get a little. It's just a very, really gracious, marvelous story. Okay. Well, thanks so much for coming, and it was a lot of fun. See what we're made of. Thanks for gleaning little tidbits of this story.
So while we were at the music stories here, Nick and Ariel are getting married on Halloween here. They've invited all of us to be present if we want to, as we heard on Sunday when he announced it. And so I just met with Nick. We're going to need some volunteers.
Do we have to wear costumes?
No, but you can if you want to.
can if you want to. This is interesting. What,
And if you want to.
Oh, my gosh.
I think we should.
So they're ordering food from Adams. I have to find someone to pick it up and get it here about 11:30, quarter to 12. They're gonna come in the day before. I told him I'll show him where the linens are and set up the tables. And I showed him how to order quality paperware from Amazon, because he thought we use glass dishes and someone would wash 70 of them.
no.
Yeah, I just had a chat.
What time is the ceremony?
They're gonna get married at 1,
And what day of the week is that?
Thursday.
It's a Thursday.
Oh,